Awesome. Well, hey guys. So my name's Nicole, and I'm super excited to come on today. This Nourish Community Call means so much to me, and so much to everybody who comes on. Honestly, I never meet anyone who hops off this call and regrets it. It's always just so nourishing on so many levels. This community has just really lit up my world since it came into my life about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I just can't help but pay it forward. So thank you all for taking time out of your day and coming on. We're going to keep this call really concise, really to the point. We're going to hone in on one of my favorite products that is in this magical box. If you know, you know. If you've received one of these boxes, you know what a gift it is. And if you haven't, I'm really excited for the day that you do because it is such a blessing to have it at your door. I literally, all my children, it feels like Christmas every month here at the house when we get this box in. We just know we're loaded. I know that I'm giving my family the best. I'm giving my body the best. I'm supporting good farming practices. And it's easy and yeah, all the good things. So let me just get into it. So this week we are going to talk about Super Aminos 23, and they're my favorite product because they really hone in on the foundation of what our body needs, amino acids, and they really are the building block and the structure for every cell in our body. So it really has to do with repairing, recovering, and rebuilding the body. And as a 42-year-old woman now, it's hard for me to say that. I want to say 24-year-old woman, but I'm 42 and I'll own it. This product has just been a game changer for me. So many times in my life, whether I'm low energy or I just can't figure out what to eat, these are just my go-to. I always have them in my bag, and they're super easy to consume. So some of the things that I love about it is they really help our body with soreness, or if we're recovering from injury. They help us not even get injuries in the first place, which I find that to be really fascinating in itself. If your body is weaker or softer than maybe it once was, or like my son, he's 14 and he's really just growing into his body. He grew so tall over this past year. He's like a bean pole, and he's using super aminos to really bulk up, and it's really fun to see that process for him too. If you're inflamed or sore or stiff in your muscles and in your joints, the super aminos can be so good for you. And if you're weighed down by digestion, so whether the proteins that we're all trying to consume, it can be frustrating if we're having these symptoms still, and many of us still are. Trying to be active in our life most of the time, and it's not really that we're not being active. It's just that the protein that we're getting is not always the best source for us. So super aminos, getting into it, they really have a great absorption rate. So the 23 on the bottle is because they absorb into your bloodstream in 23 minutes. So that's game changer. So first thing in the morning, I take 5 of these. 20 minutes later, I'm feeling awake and alive, and it's well before I've had coffee. And that's huge. That's huge for a mom who's got children to get ready. It's huge for a teenager who's got classes and events to attend. For a man trying to get to work, like whatever your story is, 23 minutes to know that you're going to have your body is going to have what it needs at a cellular level is a huge game changer. Another thing is the utilization of it. 99% of this beautiful product is utilized right away. So that's really key. So like if you were to eat a steak, for example, 45% of that steak is digestible, and the rest of it your body has to break down and remove essentially. So for this to be so absorbed easily and to have the utilization rate that it does is really huge, and the reason that it works so fast. And it doesn't create any strain on our digestion. So it bypasses the kidney, the liver, and it just goes straight to work. So again, having so much less strain on our body really allows us to just be awake and feel that aliveness like right out the gate. They are made out of non-GMO soy, non-soy legumes, which I love that piece too, because it's really important about where we're getting our food from. So regenerative farming, making sure that the sources of protein that we're getting is from the highest degree. This product is. So I know when I'm taking 5 of these capsules, I'm supporting the food that God created for my body. And it's interesting that it has to come into this form. I know I resisted that for a long time when I heard about it, but try it, and I guarantee you'll have a game changer. I guarantee you'll feel better, you'll perform better, and you'll look better after you try this product. And we have a 60-day money back guarantee if you don't. So challenge me. I love it. So much protein out there feels so heavy. It feels so heavy to absorb. It feels so, our digestion, so many people are dealing with gut issues right now, and digestion is so slow. So making sure that we're going, this product helps us be able to go to the bathroom more regularly, helps us lift our brain fog so our body's not having to digest so intensely with such heavy foods that we're just all surrounded with. A lot of the quick things that you would grab and go. Tend to slow down our digestion. So again, this product, it's so easy. You just have it in your bag, and, recommended at least to take 15 a day. But I know people who have more. I hope I hear their stories later. And some people that take less, like my son, he's 14. He takes 5 a day, and he's the tallest person in my family. He's been taking super aminos for like 4 or 5 years now. And my husband and I are not tall people. So I'm giving it to the super aminos, which I find to be really, really fun experiment. And he's super excited about it too. He was hoping to outgrow the Hobbit, the Hobbit energy around our house. So, another thing that's really amazing is that, all the products that are out in the world right now, actually, there's a big recall happening on a lot of products on the shelves at the store that Purium, the company that makes super aminos, they produce everything is manufactured in-house. So the quality is just on point. They are tested, triple tested. They are, manufactured in-house. They're watching at every level to make sure that the ingredients, the quality is all in here. And I know that firsthand. I got to go to the facility myself and just see how clean it is. And it's so reassuring. It feels so good to know that you're not going to have a recall on a product because it's been tainted with whatever the world is tainting their food with at the moment. So that is another blessing. I know for my mama heart, I always say this, my big why is like, I just have trustworthy sources in my house. So whether it's an emergency case or in my case, a daily, maybe my every day is an emergency for me, but I'm able to go to this and it's super easy on my body. Yeah, another thing, so Purium also, I have to point out, is the only product that comes in plastic. And it's because these tablets, they can break up. So this is a way that we've been able to keep them whole. But everything else in the company either comes in glass or home compostable packaging. And if you have heard about the microplastic craze right now, it's really rampant. And so anything that we can do to keep microplastics out of our bodies, out of our children's bodies, and out of the environment is a huge win. So I absolutely love that piece to the puzzle too. So I'm really excited to open up the call because this is where it gets really juicy when we get to hear other people's experience. So if you have had an experience with the super amino specifically, or any story when it comes to recovering, rebuilding your body with nourishment, I'd love to hear you. Jessica, thanks for coming on so quickly there.
I'm so excited to share it. So I kind of wrote it out so I wouldn't babble, but I'm gonna just read it because it's such a fun, just meant so much to me. So it's just about what I noticed in my body. In March of 2018, I was 40. I was like 1 month after turning 40, and I started my first 30-day Purium program. And I was pretty healthy, like really eating non-GMOs and stuff like that. But I took 15 super aminos with that program a day. And I unexpectedly conceived my son. And I had so much energy and mental clarity. And then the tone of my body, it was like better than when I worked out at the gym for like hours. And I was also traveling constantly and like seeing clients and road schooling my 4-year-old daughter. And surprisingly, in all of that movement, I still felt really steady throughout my day, just really clean energy and just supported in my body, like with that nourishment and really strong. Like I didn't feel like tired or any muscle fatigue. And yeah, so that was really awesome. And let's see. So my pregnancy, I increased slowly my super aminos and I was listening to like Dave talk about the use of them and some other mamas that had use them during pregnancy. And so by my third trimester, I took 30 a day in that third trimester. And my labor began at 1:30. I birthed my son at 5:15, and the birth team commented, they were like, "We've never seen such a smooth birth experience." And they were like, "We feel like we're at a 3-week well baby visit." They were like, "You look amazing. Like the baby is so healthy." It was really awesome. So for me, Purium and specifically these super aminos, they left me feeling so beautiful during pregnancy, like so toned. And I just had the cutest baby bump. I loved it. And I felt strong. And, I was at 40 and people didn't even think I was 40. So I didn't have any of that going on. And they've just been a foundational part of my life ever since then. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you, Nicole.
I love that. I love that. Well, I love to hear the birth story, and I'd love to know that super aminos were able to support you. That's so beautiful and so fun that Rita's right behind, and she just had a Purium baby too.
I love that story. Thanks, Jessica, for sharing. Yes, and my little baby girl is 1 year now, and I did get to have all the superfoods during pregnancy and before conception and throughout postpartum. And I have to agree, like just lifesaver knowing I'm getting so nourished and feeling so nourished throughout the whole process. And then also, just seeing how much it's impacted Layla's health. And I wanted to share a specific story on the superfoods and ULT. But after I started like the 30-day into the 90-day program, my back used to go out from an old injury, and it would go out really frequently. And one side of my musculature was really strong, and the other side was atrophied. And it didn't matter what I did. I worked really hard to create that, work on it. But it wasn't until I did the full 30-day ULT and having these aminos as part of it, my spine actually started to align. That atrophy went away. And it was the first time in like 15 years that I had that alignment. And my spine hasn't gone out since. And it's been 7 years, and it used to go out like so regularly, so often. And then I was going to the chiropractor at the time too, and they were just like, wow, your adjustments are really, really holding. And I learned that because the super aminos support your collagen, that also supports that tissue of how, the integrity of your tissue, the strength, the musculature, the collagen that holds everything into place. So for me, with injury recovery, it's been massive. And also on the pregnancy side, postpartum side, amazing as well in that recovery. So just want to share that story because that was a huge, huge win for me.
That is amazing, Rita. And I know so many people deal with so much back pain. So to know that there's something that God's created that we can lean on and it's here for us, and so easily available. And I agree, the whole ULT pack, this whole box is such a gift. It's so holistic and it really hits the vitamins, the minerals, the protein, the detoxification that our body needs. It's really not as complicated as the world makes it out to be. It all comes in a box right to your door. I love that. Thank you. Mary, I saw that you want to raise your hand.
Hi there. I also have a Purium baby. So, over 2 years ago, I had an amazing transformation with Purium, but I just wanted to share some more specific to the super aminos. So, during this pregnancy, there were a couple weeks where I stopped taking the super aminos, just because I ran out, and like my stash was not like close hands. So, pregnancy laziness, whatever. And then my belly would start itching. And as soon as I started taking them again, my belly was not itching. So that's huge for me because all my other previous pregnancies, I had to use something else to help with the itchiness. And then I ended up going 43 weeks with this chunk. And he's just been a super strong baby from the beginning. Yeah, he's almost crawling at 5 months. standing up already. And so I don't know, maybe whatever. I can't exactly um, pinpoint that, but I know like for pregnancy itching, that was definitely what was helping. So I'm grateful that I didn't need to, use another product for that.
I love that. It is so powerful. It's so amazing for our skin health and for the expansion of skin and the tightening of it. And to know that we have a new generation of children that's being born that's healthy. It's, that's my prayers. That is my prayers because we had statistics going out that our children have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And so, with Purium, we're on a mission to help relieve the suffering where we can. And so to get this message out to all women and men pre-pregnancy is just game changer. So we can have healthy babies. So we appreciate you sharing. Allison.
Hey there. Great job, Nicole. Good to see everyone. I just want to talk on the aminos real quick because I love them. I've really returned to being an athlete. Like I was a mother to two young children and definitely doing tons of things, but I kind of lost track of my body a little bit in the process of momming. And so when the nutrition came in a little over 2 years ago, I started with the full ULT box and have not dropped down since. I do way more on top of that just because I like the results. But the aminos specifically, I got into a gym um, a little over a year ago and routinely, like 5 to 6 days a week, I'm always hitting a really hard workout because I love taking care of my body that way now. That's how I process, how I'm able to use my machine effectively, right, to keep up with my kids and all the other things, right? But right after a workout, so I start my morning with 10 aminos and I get a huge kick of energy. I'm not really hungry, and this comes from a person who loves food. I like just the act of constantly grinding, throwing things in my mouth. It's fun, it's comfort, I'm always snacking with my kids, but after a workout, I'll do my second serving of aminos. So I've doubled my servings because I heard professional athletes and fighters were doing somewhere around 30 to 45 a day. I'm like, well, let me bump mine up. And I noticed a huge difference in my muscle tone. But what I love is right after the workout, that's when our body's really craving. People are talking about protein shakes. I want this. What we really want is the aminos, is what I heard a trainer say. So I started trying that a little over a year ago. Game changer, because then that saves me probably about 2 to 3 hours before I'm actually really hungry after a hardcore workout, because my body, I get the energy, I don't fall out from being fatigued from the workout, and I'm doing my recovery, I'm catching up on some work calls, I'm feeding my kids lunch, all the things, and then I'm hitting the MVP recovery protein shake because cellularly I'm obsessed with it. But those aminos buy me time when I can't necessarily get to a high quality meal, or if I have a full day with events or something like that. I'm doing extra aminos if I have a night coming off a low sleep due to kids jumping in our bed. Extra aminos just because it's that kick of power. So I love the aminos and they travel very well. Thanks.
I love that. Yeah, they help us in that intermittent fasting idea. And our bodies need way less food than the world is telling us. To eat three heavy meals a day is, for one, it's too much time in the kitchen, too many dishes in the sink, too much money on groceries. And the super aminos really help us to be able to elongate that. And like you said, have the energy, be able to live this strenuous life that many of us are called to, and not feel without. We actually are thriving with this. So I love that share. Thank you. Yay. Well, James, come and share. Come and share quickly, James.
All right. I'm not used to zooming on my phone, but I do not have a Purium baby. And but I do have to share the aminos have been amazing. And um it's like the cheat code, pushing my, mid late 40s, having those aminos to just pop in. You got that 23 minutes, you can feel the energy, and you remember it's so digestible. You're getting 2 to 3 times the absorption of the same amount of grams of protein in any, bean or meat or anything like that. And so we always have them on me, always taking them, and definitely have noticed my body staying toned. Like I try to work out, I fit things in little bits here and there, but not even on a regular routine. And that's something I'm calling in. I'm playing with the kids a lot, but it's just been great. I definitely feel the energy and with that collagen production. And remember, aminos are the building blocks of life. That is what proteins are made of, are these aminos. So yeah, just it's the one of the flagships of Purium, and it's something you just can't go without. Take them every day.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I think it is. It's important to hear a man's voice come on and share on him. James literally thrives on Purium until dinner time, and then he gets to eat a nice meal. But otherwise,
yes, I've eaten an apple today. That's it, along with all my Purium. So have a nice salad for dinner. I'm done.
Awesome. So Camille will have one last share, and then we'll close out for the night. I love this though.
Yeah. So you guys just made me think of this. I'm a practitioner, and one of the things that we talk about with our clients is watching your urine. And Nicole, you had brought up like how the kidneys are not affected nor the liver. And I started working out again, and my coach was like, you need to up your protein. So I was taking my aminos, and then I was adding in other proteins like quinoa and more beans and things like that. And I started to watch my urine, and I noticed that my urine was super bubbly. And as soon as I pared back and kind of listened to my body intuitively of like, I don't need all this extra protein. I just need the aminos, and then like a little bit of complementary here and there, that all balanced out. And so it's so interesting because these are clearly absorbed, rather than having to be processed out. And it's those bubbles in your urine that it's that like byproduct of digested protein. So just a fun little science fact for you guys. I thought it was interesting myself to see that. So thanks for this great call.
I love that. I love knowing all the little home experiments we can do to see where our body's at. Really, I think our body gives us so much feedback. And I do encourage everyone to try out this pack for 30 days, see how your body does, report back to the person who shared it with you. If you don't, if you want to learn more about what we're talking about anyway in more detail, make sure the person that you invited you to the call, get back with them, because there's so much more good information and good resources that really may be able to help your family. And then we also have a new quiz that you can take. So if you are kind of like, where am I in the journey and what would be good for me? Because there's over 100 products that Purium has from regenerative farmers that are just so high quality, that are really supportive for all kinds of things in the body, from basic needs to more specific dialed in things. This quiz could really help you. So yeah, thank you, Jordan. Jordan dropped it in the chat there. And you could go right to that. It's about 60-second quiz, so super easy, and it can kind of help you dial in what would be a good starting point for you. And remember, wherever you're starting is perfect, but the key is just to get started. So James, you said you wanted to work out. I'm gonna go ahead and be your accountability buddy, as well as everybody else on this call. And we're just gonna start where we are and just keep getting better together. And yeah, so thank you for showing up tonight. Every Thursday at 6 o'clock, we do a Nourish Community Call, and anyone and everyone is welcome to come on and share your story, hear stories, and yeah, see what exciting information we have to share with you. Hope you guys all have a great night. Aloha.